Hi, this is Lori from the Paint Girly channel. Welcome, welcome. And I want to do a series of coloring videos, and this is my first one. So today I'm going to be coloring in Imaginary World of Jane F. Hankins. Her books are quite large. This one is 11 by 14, and it's on nice paperweight. It says it's 80 pounds. And I'm going to do eyes today. I'm going to do this guy. And I chose this because they're nice and big. So I've got my camera down quite a bit. I'm going to use straight color pencil today. And by that I mean there are other things you can do. You can put a wash down. You can put watercolor down first. You can use watercolor pencils and then go back in and do some shading. Today I'm just going to work with my color pencils. And I'm going to use my Prismacolors because these are what I'm most familiar with. And I think probably most of you might have a few Prismacolor pencils. They're a really nice, affordable color pencil, and you can blend with them. They're not all color fast, but if you're working in a color book, you may not be too concerned about that. Generally, when I do eyes, I pick out 3 colors that I like. Today I've picked out 4 just because I'm not sure exactly how it's going to look and I might want to add a 4th color. So I'm going to start with light aqua. This guy being a fish, I thought some light aqua eyes might look cool. So light aqua, I have a hard time reading these pencils, but it looks like it's number 992. And then I pulled out aqua, which is, I can't really see it, looks like 905. And then I grabbed peacock blue, and that's looks like 1027. And you'll notice I have pretty good points on these. My son picked up an electric pencil sharpener for me, and it's an older one, and it makes them look like daggers. But now I have an electric sharpener in by my comfy chair, and I've got one out here in my workspace. All right, and then I also pulled out indigo blue, 901. Now these are Prisma Premier. I also have my Posca pen here, my white one, that I might use for a highlight. And I also am going to use my Sharpie pen. Not a Sharpie marker, a Sharpie pen. I've got a little piece of washi tape around there to let me know this is the one I'm using. So you want to make sure, because we all know what a Sharpie marker is, and that's kind of got a thicker tip and it tends to bleed. This is a pen. We shouldn't have that kind of a problem. So I'm just going to zero in on these eyes, and the first thing I'm going to do is come in with my light aqua. Now you can pick any color that you want and that you're comfortable with. And this point on this pencil is not super sharp. And I'm just going to make little circular motions. You can go back and forth, but the idea is that I want to, sometimes, yeah, I might go back and forth. Just try to follow the artist's lines that she's given us here. And I just want to fill in this area as best I can. I'm using very light pressure. It looks like I'm going heavier than I am, but I'm using very light pressure. Now by this time, if I was coloring this in my comfy chair, I'd be twirling this book. It's hard to, let me just turn it a little bit. It's hard for me, I should say, to sit down and color something and not move my book. Even when I paint ceramics or really any other thing I paint, I'm always flipping it around so I can get a good angle. Now this is, I think, just going to be a simple eye, and I don't really want any of that white color showing through. But I want to get a nice coverage, and I don't really necessarily want to scribble. I want to keep my pencil strokes going in the same direction. Now I'm going to come over to this eye and do the same thing. I have my YouTube channel, which obviously if you're here you have found, and I do some live streams. And when I'm chatting with those gals and I'm painting or coloring, whatever we might be doing, sometimes they'll say things like, oh, I don't really know how to color. I just color. I don't do any shading. And I get the sense that they might like to, but maybe you don't know how to go about it. And some of us are maybe in the mindset that coloring is just for kids, but it's really not. And there's all kinds of coloring books. There's very simple ones. Now, Jane Hankins calls these fine art. She's quite whimsical in her drawings, and they're so much fun. And like I said, with them being on the bigger page, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So that's just my first coat. I've just covered that eye color space. Now I'm going to come in with my second color, which is just a little bit darker than the light aqua, and this one's called aquamarine. I think I want to keep this side of the eye maybe a little lighter and then do the shading in darker color on this left side of the eye. So I'm just going to come back in the way that I was coloring before. I'm not going to come all the way into the pupil, at least not yet. I'm going to see how I like this. I'm using very light to moderate pressure, and I'm coming in the same direction. Now coloring, it's really not for people that are in a hurry. Coloring is a slow art form because you want to build up your layers. Now, if you're happy with just coloring and laying down your first color, do that and enjoy that. That's wonderful. But if you'd like to advance and maybe do something a little different and get a little more, say, personality in your coloring, you might want to try coloring with some layers and some shading. Now I'm doing the same thing to the right eye. I'm not coming all the way in. Doesn't have to be perfect all the way around. I just don't want to take it all the way into the pupil because I want some of that lighter color to still show on this side of the eye. And I'm bringing it around towards the bottom. Now this one I tapered off a little bit. This one I still went quite wide. Guess I could taper it here a little bit. Now I can come back in here and do a couple coats of this, and every time I'm using the same amount of pressure, back and forth strokes, little circles, little hot dog shaped circles. I've just deepened that edge of the eye. And I've left it lighter over here. Now I'm going to come in with that third value, which I've picked out the peacock. And these are all from the same color family, like the aqua color family. And now I'm just going to come in a little bit closer to the edge. Not covering up that aquamarine that I worked so hard to put in there. Medium pressure, just bringing it in a little bit. Just trying to define that outer edge of the eye. I think you can start to see that. I'm going to do the same here. So I'm bringing it about in that space about a quarter of the way in. And you can come in like different levels too. Like you could bring this in a little stronger here. A little more towards the pupil, and then here just very little bit out on the edge. Because if you look at an eye, if you look at a human eye, I don't really know about a fish eye. We've got all kinds of markings and shadings in there, which makes it cool. Now I'm going to come back to my little gray shack in. I'm going to come back to my light aqua, and I'm going to start like I did initially. I'm going to deepen this right-hand side of my eye, and now I'm coming right over top of those other two layers. Still very light pressure. And I'm pulling that in. And that's kind of blending that little edge where I had the three different colors. Let's see if my camera is... I don't know if that's so clear. It looks... See, I have my glasses on. It's hard for me to see if the screen is clear. But hopefully you can see the difference. See over here on this eye, see how you can really see that definite line? Over here, it's just blended out because I came back with this light color. So I'm going to do that over here. Now I don't know what color I'm going to do the fish yet. So I'm not going to do around the outside of the eye today because I haven't decided. Now I told you on this eye, usually I use just the three colors. But I thought I might like a little more darkness around the edge. See, and then it's the artist has given us all these lines in the iris. So I thought it might be fun to come back in with the blue indigo, which is really a very dark, and it's somewhat of a translucent color. Now I'm going to sharpen this a little bit more because I want to be able to get just a really, really fine edge. Now, of course, this being a coloring book and it's not grayscale, it's just your line art, and you've got dark lines there that are black. So I'm just going to make little tiny circles real close to that black line, even on top of that black line. And I'm just going to start to deepen this area. right where I put that other color, you know, that peacock color, right up against that black line. And then the artist gave us a little wiggly line here. I'm just going to follow that around with that indigo blue. And I don't know how this is going to turn out, but let's see if I bring my camera down a little bit more. I'm thinking about just going over these lines in the iris. Just light pressure, so they're not black. They've got a little bit of that blue tinge. Now the other thing you can do is you can color around here in the white, do the white of the eye. And you could do that with white paint if you have it. Once you get the rest of if you would get the rest of your image colored, that would really make your image pop. Now I'm going to come over to this side and do this other eye. I'm going down, bringing it down a little bit more at the top of the eye there. Just little tiny circles. And then you can circle back. And then you just get it the way you like it to look. You could even come around, you know, the eye here and bring a little bit of dark color out where we just have that light. And then I'm going to go back over these lines with the indigo. And I could come back over again with the light aqua. I don't really have too much in the way of a definite line. It's pretty well blended. And then you just keep layering it until you get it the way you like. Now, of course, I've gotten some of this color on the pupil. And if you color at all, you know that your coloring pages aren't black. So that center pupil is not real black. So that's where I'm going to come in with my Sharpie pen. And I'm just going to make that pupil really dark. You could use a black color pencil for sure. Now, a lot of times animals or fish, you know, they don't really have a highlight in their eye. But this is really a whimsical piece. And I'm not going to do anything with the whites of the eye for this fish. At least not today. I may, once I start to color the rest of the fish, I might decide, oh, the eyes could be a little bit brighter. So I'm just not, see, right here I can see where I missed. It's not as dark. So I want to let that dry. I was thinking about using my Posca pen, and because this is a whimsical piece, you know, putting a little highlight. And I like sometimes to have an exaggerated highlight. And sometimes my Poscas don't always work the way they should. So let me test this. Not too bad. You don't want to press down real hard with any kind of a marker or like a liquid paint pen. If you can use a light stroke and let the fluid flow out, it's a little better for you. So I'm just going to make like a little dash kind of on the right side of the eye. And then I just need to let that dry. And that's it. Now very simple, very basic, but they look cute. And if you did this on any other coloring page that you might have, you would get the same result. So that's it for this video. The next one I hope to do is, let's see, it's in this book. I should have marked it. I think I'm going to do different little faces, different colors. I'm just going to show you. I don't want to blur my hair, this one. I think I'm going to do these little flower faces and do the centers different colors. So if you're interested, keep an eye out for that. So that's it for today. I hope to see you on my next video, and don't forget, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. Bye-bye for now.